We are back as we have our winner from our first series of the day. Going to be moving on into the winners match for Group D. That's right, Trap breaks the status quo of what we've had from the past 2 days, and he is able to advance on here for WCS Korea. Joining me to my left-hand side, I have Artosis as well as Nathanius. Guys, Trap learned very, very quickly in this series not to go to the late game against the laser.
Yeah. I mean, the first game, I felt like he was playing pretty well overall, but we did get to the stage where there's about 25 infestors out fungling everything, and that made it very difficult for him to finish that one off.
Yeah, it's downright silly, honestly. He made some really cool plays, did some good early harass, moves like this to try and take some of his units that had less value in the late game, but we quickly saw him realize, like, okay, well, playing versus Zerg late game, almost no one in this tournament is going to be able to win there. So switch things up moving on later throughout the series, and that's where it's going to work. You have to kill them before they get to this army composition, simply put. Like, there is so much in your way, so much unit removal with the Neural Parasite, the Infested Terran Bombs, and of course, Brood Lords are going to keep anything on the ground from getting close to touching that army.
And of course, he did come to fruition in the last 3 games of the series. One thing that was nice about Trap, interestingly, in this game is like flying around with 3 War Prisms at a time, looking to get some damage done was kind of cool.
Oh, he actually played a magnificent late game, to be honest. He got a really sick army. He was making a lot of good moves. The 3 Prism play, like you bring up, that's like an old Wings of Liberty type strategy to try to trade some of your no longer useful units in for killing things like the Spire. It didn't end up working out, but I feel like Trap approached the late game in a really nice and novel way.
I can't really say that I had any disagreements with what he tried to do. You just can't really beat that army. So switching it up, moving forward, the DT's got tons of damage in, but having that Charge Zealot opening as well, kind of getting the attention of the Zerg to follow it up with the DTs because they're already tunnel vision so hard on defending that, and you don't really have the awareness most of the time while making that defense work, squeezing out those units, or spending every resource you have. Boom, you're able to get massive damage done there. And Trap is able to elevate himself into such a position that, okay, you want to try and do something to me in this open ground? Well, I've had plenty of time to crank out Immortals, get Storm, and he just played an amazing game, which I just give double credit for as well. Killing a Zerg on World of Sleepers, I mean, that's an achievement in and of itself that few people can say they've ever achieved.
Yeah, and then of course he continued his harassment. I was really surprised with how much damage he actually got done with some of these Oracle fly-ins. I don't know, I feel like he played really beautiful throughout the series, and maybe a laser, at least in Game 3, Game 4, a little bit off of what I kind of expected.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it really just comes down to dialing up the earlier attacks. You absolutely cannot let him get all the way up to that big Broodlord Infestor death ball. And everything he did in this series was about buying that. We were joking backstage, but he cancels a lot of what he's building with that early cannon rush. He's trying to make sure he's not overcommitting. And just really good attention to detail. And magnificent Oracle micro. Almost every one of these little highlights we're looking at, he's pulling back the ones that are getting weaker. And just being able to take control of the game early on. You have to do that versus Zerg, especially on this map pool.
Yeah, and he did a great job of it. Like, that Oracle micro was out of control, like Roddy was saying. I mean, his attacks were really nice, well-timed. Trap looks like he's in top form today.
He looked great.
Dominating time towards the end, though, as well, as we saw Trap now advancing on as we conjure the bracket, or the group even, I should say, here to my right-hand side. And we have Trap advancing on into the winner's match, and a laser will fall down into the elimination match, where he waits either Rogue or Neeb, which does bring us on to our next match here, which will indeed be that fixture in Rogue and Neeb coming up against one another. 2 big names of the group, guys, here in Group D. Of course, Rogue now, technically speaking, a multiple-time world champion if you count the global finals, as well as the Intel Extreme Masters Katowice, going up against Neeb, who, for all intents and purposes, pundits are saying, aside from Cyril, he might have some of the best chances here on a truly international stage against some of the Koreans at the very top of the level.
Well, he's shown that time and time again, right? Like, of course, since he won that Kespa Cup, he has been one of the guys that can compete against the Korean players. A top 4 in GSL, I mean, that ain't bad, right? He is a really strong player. We've seen great games from him against Rogue before. Like, remember the 2017? He was the only player in the tournament that could beat Rogue in a macro game.
And just think about the competition for Neeb as well, right? Where he runs into a wall against Cyril, he's not going to play anybody in this tournament that's better than Cyril. So just that alone, the chances look so much better for him. He looked really good in his most recent tournament when we were going through WCS Fall, and everything up to the point where he hit Serral, he was on point. He had murderous intent with his builds, and that's one of my favorite things about Neeb is in a metagame where you're kind of forced into these really early attacks, you don't want to let Rogue play late game, but he's very, very good in the mid game. He's not one to shy away from going for some of those less common builds, those quick adept resonating glaives, like one of Neeb's signature plays. And I think that's going to be really important because I also expect Rogue to not just try and force that late game either in this match.
And of course, Rogue is our most recent GSL Code S champion. So definitely so on form in terms of that regard as we go into our next series of the day. Let's hear from Rogue and Neeb coming into Group D to what they think about the round of 16.
GSL 우승할 때는 상상도 못했는데 운이 되게 좋다고 생각을 했어요. 저한테 너무 잘 맞는 시즌이었던 것 같고 그래서 우승을 할 수 있었던 것 같아요. 블리즈컨 아예 포기하고 그냥 게임에 의욕이 없어가지고 좀 게임을 놓고 있었는데 이렇게 운 좋게 또 블리즈컨에 가게 돼가지고 다시 불타오르고 의욕이 좀 많이 생겨서 이번에 좀 열심히 해서 잘하고 싶어요. 세랄만 이기면은 우승이라고 생각했고 또 세랄이랑 하기 전이라서 세랄이 이렇게 잘하는 선수인지 몰랐거든요. 전 제가 무조건 이긴다고 생각을 해가지고 세랄 선수랑 하고서 너무 벽을 느껴가지고 세랄 선수 걸 보고 많이 배우고 있고 제가 블리즈컨 갈 때마다 항상 성적이 좋았어가지고 이번에도 밸런스도 좋고 테란전, 토스전이 좀 자신이 있어서 저그전만 보완을 한다면은 셋 다 까다롭지만 그래도 성우랑 저랑 충분히 둘이 올라갈 수 있다고 생각하는 조라서 방심만 하지 않고 열심히 준비한다면 둘이 손잡고 충분히 올라갈 수 있다고 생각해요. 닙 선수보다는 그래도 세랄 선수만 지금 생각을 하고 있어가지고 질 거라고 생각을 아예 하지 않고 있어요. 닙 선수가 느꼈을 때 제가 좀 편한 상대라고 느낄 수도 있는데 지금 메타가 또 제 스타일에 너무 잘 맞는 메타이기도 하고 또 제가 닙 선수의 약점을 좀 알고 있거든요. 좀 제가 꼬아서 하면은 닙 선수가 당황을 되게 많이 하더라고요. 그래서 그걸 좀 이용하면 닙 선수도 쉬운 상대가 되지 않을까 싶어요. 일단 제 목표는 절대 8강이 아니고 무조건 우승이기 때문에 16강에서 진출한다 해도 절대 별로 안 기쁠 것 같고 미국 가가지고 꼭 세라르 선수를 잡고 우승을 할 수 있도록 하겠습니다.
Yeah, for me, I've been pretty disappointed with my BlizzCon performances. I lost the last 2 years in the group stages, so this year I'm gonna try very hard because I have 2 Zergs in my group, so I can just mainly prepare for PvZ. So I've done a lot of preparation there, and hopefully I can advance. When I was put in Group D, I was a bit disappointed because 2 other Zerg players, and my PvZ hasn't been so hot recently. I used to have very good PvZ, but in the last few months, I just haven't been able to find any success. So I mean, it's not the best group for me, but it's definitely doable. It's not like I was put in Times group or something with Maru, Serral, and Stats. That's insane. So Rogue was a tough draw for me, I think, because coming into it, I was a high seed WCS player, and I happened to get Rogue, who's just the last GSL champion, so that's always tough. And Rogue seems to have a lot of periods where he just completely dominates everyone, so it's going to depend on whether he's still in his GSL form or not, if I can beat him. For Trap, I think it's also going to be a tough matchup because he's a very strong mechanical player, so I'm going to have to outsmart him. And it's always hard to outsmart the Korean players. They just have a really thorough understanding of the game. And for a laser, I think he's hard to prepare against because it's not like I can just prepare the same for Rogue as I would for a laser, because a laser plays a lot more aggressive and a lot more timing oriented, so that's also tough. So I had to prepare a lot. The toughest matchup for me is definitely Rogue. He's just completely on fire sometimes, and that's going to be extremely tough to break if he's still in his GSL form. I think I have a pretty decent shot to go through. I really like that they changed it to be best of 5s this year, so it gives more of a advantage to the players who play better in longer, thorough macro games. And it's tough to do that against Korean players, but I think with enough preparation, and being on good form on tournament day, it's definitely doable.
Maynard,
Tassels.
it's time to E-cast this E-game.
I'm so excited for this particular E-game, Tasteless. A WCS several-time champion against a GSL champion. Scratch that, a previous world champion.
Yes, this is going to be a sick match. I'm super hyped to see how Neeb is going to approach Rogue. Rogue is a player known for having absolutely terrifying late game. I mean, this was, especially in Legacy of the Void, the first player that really showed the elasticity of Zerg. And how strong they can be and how important it really is to get in there and stop them before they get too big. Neeb is a player that knows how to prepare. He's very cool under pressure. I don't know that he's going to take this into long games. Maybe he will. What do you think?
It's one of those things where, yeah, it's possible, and obviously, you know, we're doing a caster thing. We're like, anyone could win.
He might win or he might lose.
He might win or he might lose, guys. This is how tournaments work. It's crazy. But Neeb actually has a lot more of a solid shot than he might be letting on here. I actually believe a lot in his ability to, like he even mentioned in his interview, prepare well and actually counter this stuff. Because Rogue is an incredibly popular player. All of his games have been studied, very studyable. And I wonder if Rogue has actually paid that much attention to Neeb, whereas I know Neeb's been looking very, very close at Rogue.
Yeah, that's a good question, actually. Rogue is also a player who does like to use Nidus Worms from time to time. He's had some success with that. Oh, excuse me, we're actually going to jump right into this game. Acropolis is going to be our first map. This is Rogue versus Neeb in a best of 5. Let's go. I think we might have had a game crash here.
Yeah, it looks like Rogue's not loading in.
Yeah. Sorry, guys, that's supposed to be timed out so that we can go into the game. As I say that, the game's loaded up.
This never happens to us.
Yeah,
We must be tired.
Okay, yeah, something happened. We're going to get the computer probably just restarted here, and then we'll be jumping into this game.
Yeah, it happens. Vehicle of esports, etc., etc.
I know.
That old speech.
It's those computers, man.
It's those dang computers. All we want to do is play games on them, but yeah.
So, anyways, when we're able to hop into this game, we will. Neeb coming in here, I'm super hyped as an American to see how this guy is going to perform.
And as an Australian, basically the 51st state of America,
We will gladly welcome you.
I will gladly welcome my American Protoss overlords. I've always been a massive fan of Neeb, you know, really making a splash on the scene in 2017, obviously, doing an incredible job and just an incredibly dominating form. And even just this particular matchup is historically really exciting because it was that year, 2017 in particular, when Neeb sort of showed up. And Rogue was the guy that he had in his group, and they had that incredible, you know, the fist of Neeb. You know, showed itself on those maps back in the day. I think it was Mech Depot, but it was just an incredibly exciting time. And I think, just about ready, Tasteless, for this WCS God to just switch it on again and go full Super Saiyan.
I could sit here and riff all day, dude. I don't know, man. This has been such a fun tournament. It's cool having WCS down here in the GSL studio.
Yeah,
it does have, like, if you guys have been watching years past, you know that there's a certain WCS vibe. And then there's a GSL vibe, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But now we kind of have the
what
two.
if we
made him have a baby?
Yeah.
Because we have like kind of GSL music playing here, but a lot of the WCS kind of set up with the couches and everything. So I'm really glad we got to do it this way.
And what's really exciting about this baby is it's not one of those like weird misshapen potato babies. It's actually a really beautiful baby that GSL and WCS have created together. That I'm more than happy to just see Polaroid shots of. Constantly. It's like if someone wants to show me 20
it's not one of those
pictures
tournaments you
on
show a
their phone,
picture of and you go, whoa, like that.
No, you're like, oh, God. You're like, that baby looks very alert. It's the nicest thing you can say.
So they're remaking the game now. We should be getting back into this.
Just a second. So we hope all you guys at home has also been enjoying this new version of the show for BlizzCon. I think it's been wonderful.
Yeah. This has been, I'm really enjoying this. I mean, for me, it's kind of nice just because it's like in the city I work in anyways, and you know, we're with the staff I normally work with, but this is fun having everybody out here and doing it in Korea. And then what's also cool is we're all going to get to travel to LA together.
We are indeed.
We're all going to be on the same level of jet lag.
We are. We're all going to be as tired, as annoyed.
Yes. As irritated.
Yep.
No, but it's going to be fun. Okay. I think, guys, it's going to be okay. Let's try it again. A second time. Our map is Acropolis. After that, Thunderbird, Ephemeron, Triton, and Disco Bloodbath. The game is loading. Will it finish loading?
Oh, it looks like it will,
The
Tasteless.
bar is almost full. Okay. It's time to start game one. Rogue vs. Neeb starts now. Let's go. In the bottom right in the red from Korea, he is
Jin Air Greenwing, Rogue.
And the top left, I hear the call, the bold eagle, the freedom, the flags. This is
Team Neeb.
This American caster approves of that intro, Maynard. Well done. So, as has been thematic with Zerg in general lately, they seem to be very strong in the late game. Broodlords and Infestors work very well together. And it could be
You
tricky.
don't say, Tasteless.
That's what I've been gleaning from this.
Yeah.
And so, a lot of Protosses have gone for timing attacks. We have seen Protosses try to match the Zerg in the late game, Tempest, Carriers, stuff like that. Or like I said,
that's
we might have
interesting.
a rush.
Look at this map score here. Is actually Neeb coming out on top in the end there.
Yeah, I did not realize that.
Yeah.
If I had to bet, I would have guessed that Rogue had won more, but
Huh.
huh.
Acropolis, our first battlefield, a really cool map, very, very easy to wall off for Protoss who, you know, things like rushes are not super common. You know, someone like Rogue isn't really your Sue. He's not someone that's usually going to knock on your front door with a bunch of roaches. He
Right.
is the kind of guy to make Nidus Worms and Hell Muffins, though. That is
Yes.
that is definitely who Rogue is. He is more than happy to do that. In fact, this map in particular was one where he really smacked back Trap in
Yes,
in that
Swarm
finalist.
hosts. Swarm hosts are pretty good.
Yes, it is not too bad. But, you know, Neeb knows that better than anyone else. And I really hope for Neeb in this particular series, for anyone that's a Neeb fan out there, if you want to see this guy advance, I think it's all going to come down to Neeb having something very special prepared for this player. And
Yeah.
and hopefully, as he mentioned in his interview as well, something different for a Laser, as Rogue and a Laser are very, very different players.
So, we've got 3 hatches coming here from the Zerg. Again, we're just going to get the first Adept out. Probably a little bit of pressure, probably a little bit of harass as we go into this. Again, I'm not expecting Rogue to try to end the game right away. Maybe he'll do it in one of these games out of the best of 5. We tend to see one rush in a best of 5, but I think generally speaking, it is going to be to try to ferret out what the Protoss is going to try to do, deny that, get onto about 5 bases, get into the Broodlord tech.
It's a pretty safe bet. We got ourselves a Stargate opening here with the Adept for a little bit of map control for the Protoss. And that's all very stock standard. I'm still very, very much interested in what the follow-up here for Neeb is going to be, the actual plan. You know, most Protosses are going to open this way anyway, as it is just most safe and standard way to open without, you know, taking too much damage. Stargate is still quite a safe way to open. You can potentially do damage on the other side of the map as well. And if you're anywhere near as good as Trap with Oracles, you will find drone damage. Neeb actually going Phoenix first here, and usually that is forward with the Oracle, but we have seen some Protosses just continue Phoenix production to try and just really be annoying in those mineral lines. Rogue is going for Overlord speed here. It's nice, a cheap upgrade, so there's no reason why you wouldn't do that. I like that Rogue's doing this. He's showing a little bit more respect to Neeb here, just making sure that, you know, the Protoss is kept honest, and he is able to scout everything.
Yeah, and with this Oracle opening, one of the benefits of it is that it's pretty easy to cover your third. You know, the Blings are not going to be able to wipe that out the Nexus as easily. And a lot of PvZs are looking like this lately, where it's pretty passive on both sides.
To start off with, for sure. Yeah, and everything's very, very standard and very much, you know, nothing a whole lot of note to talk about in this map so far. Rogue knows the timings of this Oracle. He knows that the Phoenix and the Oracle's going to come across the map, try and lift up those Queens, go for those drone lines, do that economic damage. And he's just getting a couple Spore Crawlers here. It looks like he's actually getting them in every single mineral line. So not actually cutting any corners at all. He just wants to be super, super safe here to start things off with.
Dude, I'm really rooting for Neeb here, man.
I can tell.
Neeb is like the one player I get super hype about, man. As an American. We don't have enough top tier StarCraft players, so I got my fingers crossed for him. Do you have any player like that, Maynard, that you just get a little bit wiggly when you're casting him?
You know what? I do. His name's TY.
Yeah, he's
casting on the desk next to me.
I know.
I am a unabashed and unashamed fanboy of that particular talent. It's really cool to be a caster with him at this event.
Yeah. He's actually been crushing it in Cassian in general as well now.
Oh, I love this from Neeb, by the way. Lots of adepts. And I don't know if Rogue actually caught wind of the amount of adepts coming across the map here. The Roach Warren not done yet. His army is just Queens and Lings. And this is a fantastic composition for Neeb to find a lot of damage.
Yeah, this is kind of an unusual time to come in here. There's no glaives or anything like that, but it's an abrupt number of adepts. He's going to come into the mineral patches here and begin to get this fight. The Queens are coming down. The Lings trying to get us around, but the Ling numbers are just not high enough. And now we have the adepts shading up into the third.
Yeah, certainly not. He is going to lose a couple of depths here, but of course the Oracle's darting into the main base. Neeb controlling them, keeping them alive, finding some drone damage with the adepts, and he shades them into the third base, denying some mining time here. You know, Rogue's actually been doing a really good job at mitigating the drone damage at the moment, even though he's lost most of his Lings. So he's starting to make some more, but we already see 11 drones on the way for Rogue to replenish the economy, and he actually has taken very little of an economic hit here. Meanwhile, Neeb putting a lot of resources into these adepts.
Yeah, I'm actually a little bit shocked here that he didn't kill more drones with that. I mean, when you see an attack like that coming out and you know that the Oracles are going to try to pop into the main, he only killed 4 drones.
Yeah, it was actually a very, very nice defense there from Rogue. We have that new regular style of going 3 Oracle here from Neeb, which is extremely threatening. There is 1 Spore Crawler per mineral line, as we mentioned before, but these Queens doing a great job intercepting the Oracles, even batting back that Phoenix and keeping everything alive. Ling's going for a counterattack here, but Neeb, similar to Rogue, defending very well, locking things down at the third base, and he is going for +1 attack and charge and beginning his immortal production. Interested once again to see if Neeb goes for second Robo here, if he starts going for Storm, and he might want to go for Storm, as we are seeing the Infestation Pit get dropped here, Tasteless, and I think some of those Heck Muffins that we see time and time again from Rogue are soon to hit.
Muffins from hell, man. Swarm hosts. That's what they look like, in case you guys are confused about what we're talking about.
Yes, the Swarm
They
hosts.
they are an excellent way to try to approach this matchup. Now, I'm a little bit worried for Neeb because that adept timing attack didn't actually do much of anything.
No.
Like it was shockingly unimpactful to the Zerg, and I think this is going to allow the Zerg to catapult even further ahead. Pick it up with Phoenix.
That is unfortunate there for Neeb, losing that sentry there. Of course, sentries are part of the parcel when you're trying to defend against Locusts, force fields, that sort of thing, to try and keep things back. They're not a convincing way to deal with them, obviously, because they're not a great fighting unit. You need to have splash damage there, and Neeb knows that. He's got some high tempo on the way, but the amount of Locusts that he's going to have to deal with very, very shortly, a couple Archons is not going to be enough.
Yeah, this could be pretty big here. Now, this drop is to set up for the Nidus. Protoss is going to be preoccupied with trying to get rid of these Lings, and so the Nidus can then pop out over here. There's also a little attack over there that was denied, so these Lings are going to get to unload here. It looks like just barely every single one of them. But what's most important is, as this Nidus finishes, these Swarm hosts, there they are going to be popping. Oh, they look less like muffins with this skin. They like got little bubbles on their head or something. But this is where these Swarm hosts are going to come out.
And Neeb has only just started Storm, by the way. His splash damage against Locusts not so great. Thankfully, Rogue has actually got these Locusts on A moves, so they're taking their time. They've actually already landed. They got a pylon, which is great. But
oh my God!
Oh no!
Are you
the
serious?
Templar Archives. This is
that
devastating.
is so sick.
Oh, that sucks so bad for Neeb. So no more Archons for a while, and that means that Rogue is going to have that Locust wave soon. And once again, Neeb is having Storm slowed down so far here, which is really the only convincing way to engage Locust and taking very little damage. I'm
guess
very worried for Neeb.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of subtle, but I guess you really do want to have Templar Archives in the very, very corner of your base, so that can't happen.
So.
It's kind of like when we saw Tech Labs getting picked off in some of these TVTs where they just be able to snipe it with tanks or a drop and get rid of Stim. Same idea here. And now, with the vision in that area, a second Nidus is going to come in here. The Oracles are going to try to target it down.
That Stasis Ward was actually
sick.
a great idea there from Neeb. He's going to lock down those Locusts, which means they aren't going to be any threat to him at the moment. His third base still being locked down tight as well, but of course, this is the part of the game where Zerg can really snowball. Nidus Worms are going to continue to pop here, and they are only 50 minerals and 50 gas, so there will be no slowdown on these Nidus Worms for Rogue.
Very nicely done over here with the defense from Neeb. Neeb is trying to race to get maxed out while holding off all these attacks. The Swarm hosts coming in and pummeling the main while the Lings and Ravagers at the bottom are trying to hit the third base. He needs to hang on. He needs to stabilize. And most of all, he needs to finish Storm. And you know what? He could actually try to snipe it again. The Templar Archives is...
I'm with you, Tasteless.
Dude.
I think that Templar Archives is built right next to the old one. And there he goes. He's attacking the units, but I really think he should target that. Yes, he does.
Oh my God!
God. Oh.
Double denial, that's so sick.
It's like someone just scratched their nails on a blackboard right next to me.
Oh, my God.
It hurts. Oh, man.
Roaches are going to pop out here. We have a lot of damage being done over to the Naturals. Neeb is getting... It's starting to fray at the seams here for Neeb. He needs to try to get this defense up. For a third time now, he's going to have to try to get Storm.
Yeah, oh man, this third base defense was looking so good earlier, but right now it's a little thin, and Rogue knows that. He's getting on top of it, picking up those Archons, going for the Immortals as well.
He actually used the Nidus to block the Immortals from going up. That's so cool.
Yeah, Rogue has zero chill. He is literally building Nidus Worms right in front of the probe line, and the Stalkers aren't even killing it. That thing, they get loaded up with Zerg units, and he is just finding damage everywhere with the Locusts as well.
Rogue is
man,
absolutely crushing right now. We have more Roaches coming over here into the third base with the Nidus already up, so he can get even more units to come out.
Yeah, this is looking worse and worse for Neeb as it gets further and further into this game. He can't attack, and at the moment it's looking tough for him to defend. He does have a ton of Stalkers here to deal with the Roach Ravager army, and it's definitely the right composition for that. And it feels like Neeb might have to go for a bit of a Hail Mary here. Maybe try and do something on the other side of the map, because sitting at home and waiting for the Locusts to come to him, that ain't it. That ain't it. I don't think that's going to happen here for him because of how much Storm's been delayed, how there's no Archons anymore.
Yeah, I mean, he can't keep eating damage like this. It's funny because there's so many Immortals out which basically counter Roach Ravager, but it's the sheer supply count. Oh my God, he's going to get the Robo too.
Are you trying to build production facilities, Neeb?
How dare you try to
dare
defend
you.
against these Roaches?
That's right. I really like that he got Roach Burrow as well. You know, everything that's going to be tough for a defending Protoss to deal with, Rogue has it right now. And, you know, you were talking about Broodlord and Fester, but there's actually a lot of other great tools that the Zerg has, and especially Rogue. He loves his playstyle, and if he doesn't have to play the longer game, he won't. You know, we all know he's great at the late game, but Rogue likes a quick and dirty series.
This is really impressive stuff here from Rogue. Now Neeb's not, well, I was going to say he's not dead, but these attacks are actually getting worse and worse. Neeb needs to hang on. The problem is Rogue is also able to grow behind this as well. And without the Robo, unless that was remade and I missed that, I mean, there's just not a whole lot that he can use to try to counter this.
There's a Robo right there by the third that just finished. And yeah, he's kind of damned if he does and damned if he doesn't. If he defends, these Locusts are going to continue to find more and more damage. If he goes across the map, then the Nidus Worms can send out the Swarm Host to defend on that side of the map. I mean, the army supply of Rogue is pretty big right now. Obviously, it's a supply inefficient army. The Swarm Hosts are 3 supply each. The Roaches and Ravagers are 2 and 3 supply each, respectively. But it is still a very convincing Zerg army. I really would love to see Neeb just try and make a Hail Mary play, something really YOLO across the map. Just
try to straight up counter push.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, the problem, well, maybe that would work, actually. One thing about Zerg is they sort of lock the tech in when they did this. They're not trying to tech further ahead. If he was able to do a counterattack, though, I mean, he has a lot of Immortals. He's got a good number of Stalkers. These are both great units against Roaches. Maybe he can do something.
Well, he's got a Prism now. He still has quite a bit of production. He's got +2 attack on these units as well, so they're hitting pretty hard against these Roaches. And, you know, there's no... Well, we see that Rogue's actually going for a Lurker Den right now, but it's not here at the moment. So this army of Neeb actually could do okay in a stand-up fight. I'm still worried about those Locust waves, though, when Rogue uses them defensively.
Yeah, he's going to have to try to play around the Locust here. If this counterattack works, it's going to be insane.
Well, Neeb has a ton of Stalker Stasis, and he has a bit of a choke point as well. Those Locusts so high in DPS with their +2 attack. Pushing back those Stalkers. Neeb trying to keep that Prism safe as well. Doing a little bit of juggling here to keep those Blink Stalkers basically blinking non-stop. Really nice control for Neeb. He's losing a few units. Still has some units left over, but will it be enough is the big question.
Now is the time to pounce. He needs to get in there and start to do damage before the Swarm Host can reload. It looks like he wanted to macro up just a little bit here. Now he's going to try to push up onto the high ground. The Zerg is going to try to control the bottleneck area where Protoss can't get onto the high ground. We also, looks like he's going to take that out, but not in time. There's going to be a counterattack here in the main.
Well, I think Rogue actually wants to have stuff down here on the low ground, but he's actually at that point where he has enough army. He can spend some of those units on the other side of the map and probably still defend as well. Those Roaches, relatively inexpensive for Rogue. Here come those Locusts once again, and Neeb, you know, no Archons, no charge lots to hold that front line. No Storms, obviously. Not going to see seeing Storm in this game. So Rogue is going to be pushing him way back off his front door once again, and Neeb has not found counter damage just yet.
And the problem is that as long as his push is not destroying the Zerg's bases, this small Roach Ravager army in the main is going to keep doing damage.
And also he's forcing Warpins back at home as well. They're not on the front line here actually helping out Neeb's push. He is still using that Prism. Very nice control here from the American Protoss. Rogue coming in with those Roaches. They are slowly starting to get that ground though, nearly killing that Immortal, and the Stalker count is about a quarter of the size as it was earlier.
Yeah, I'm starting to think there's almost no hope here for Neeb. I don't see a fourth base in the future right now. I think he had...
Recalling his army.
Yeah, he's going to pull them back now. And this is, unfortunately, just such an excellent play here by Rogue. I mean, he basically played a perfect game this time around. I think he's zoned Neeb out of ever coming back.
Neeb just trying to make magic happen here with a Prism, an Immortal, and a couple Stalkers, but he's just going to tap out here, saving some energy for Game 2 as Game 1 has slipped through his fingers.
Okay, so let's go back to the most important moment in that game. It was when the Swarm hosts were able to snipe the Templar Archives, which was upgrading Storm. The natural way for Protoss to deal with Locusts is to storm them as they land.
Yeah.
And so that means the Locusts then have to wait for them to reload all of their... I'm sorry, the Swarm hosts have to reload in the Locusts, and you get more energy as you wait for that, and that's kind of how you hold that off. But sniping the Templar Archives not once but twice was what put Neeb in the hole. I think he was very intelligent to try and tech up, or tech around it by going to Mortal Stalker and a counterattack, but it didn't work.
And I kind of mentioned in the cast, but to reiterate, his only play at that point, because Rogue forced his hand, was to go for some kind of Hail Mary counterattack.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
and Neeb knew that, he went for it, but it just didn't look good on paper. He was kind of, it was a real catch-22 for the Protoss after losing the Templar Archives twice. You're absolutely right, Tasteless. That was the big moment there where Rogue had the upper hand, and he just did not give it away.
It is time to start Game 2. Rogue versus Neeb continues on now. In the bottom right, in the red, our Korean Zerg. He is
Jin Air Greenwing, Rogue.
In the top left, knocked down in Game 1, but he will get up again for Game 2. He is
Team Neeb.
I know the rest of that song, but I'm not going to sing it because I don't want to get fired.
Let's see if our American player can come back here.
The Thunder
Zerg
Shaft
is-
on Thunderbird.
The Zerg is looking strong. See some more support here.
Yeah.
Korea OP, I agree. But I will say, I think the playing field has really been evening out now. It's exciting to see, and not just with Cyril, but with a lot of the non-Korean players, that the competition is actually getting pretty fierce. The Koreans are really having to step up their game. The problem for Neeb in this situation is not only is Zerg looking very strong as of late, but also it's Rogue. It's one of the greatest Zergs in all of the 21 years of StarCraft history.
Yeah, and he is a player that, similar to Dark, very, you know, he can play a lot of different styles. He's hard to predict, and he's also very sure of himself. When Rogue is doing well, Rogue is incredibly confident, and that's
Yeah.
a scary thing to be up against, an incredibly confident pro gamer. You know, Reyna was that guy yesterday in Group C, and you know, Dark in Group A is obviously, you know, he's an incredibly scary person to try and get into the head of, you know, to slow them down, to make them worry about their game plan.
So the probe is continuing to pop around and see if there's any unusual tech. But I'm imagining, again, like the game we had before, it'll be a slower start here.
A bit of a slow burn.
Game paused.
All right, I got a bit of pause
Man,
here.
was I ever right about that? All right, we got to pause here. And I let you guys know when the game is ready.
Tasteless just got to put his pants back on.
I got to let me put my shirt back on. Sorry.
Take off his nipple clamps. So Rogue was just going, you know, this is one of those maps where you only have one choke point into your 3-base expansion pattern.
Yeah.
So he's going for what I like to call the Korean third base. You get it before 2 minutes, and it's
Yeah.
a very, very strong and sort of greedy opening, but you don't really get punished for it. There's not a whole lot you can do about it, and it can also really quickly turn on its head into something really aggressive as well.
Yeah.
So,
By the way,
oh,
we're back in game.
back
I don't
in game.
whatever
There
the
it is.
issue was, it was sorted.
we love a quick pause.
Guys,
Thank you, Neeb.
it's going to be okay.
It's going to be okay.
I'm ready. Bring all the delays on. I'm ready. Cast through anything.
You can't stop us, PCs that fail.
This is e-gaming at its finest. Now, as we saw in the last game, it's going to be a Stargate again. If it's not a Stargate, it means the Protoss is doing something crazy.
Yeah, I mean, opening. There's like the only non-crazy thing I can think of, unless you're opening with Stargate, is like the Twilight Council Robo Facility Archon drop thing, which is not crazy, but it is still, you know, aggressive. Like you go out there on
Yeah.
the map and you're like, okay, you know, I'm gonna make you sit there and defend. Whereas the Stargate opening, you basically you're basically like, okay, I want to be safe back at home, and I also just want to have a look and see what you're doing, potentially get damage if I can. But the Archon thing, if you're not doing damage with the Archons, if you're not pushing back creep and you're not, cutting into the drone line, or at least, pushing back queens and that sort of thing, then it doesn't really pay for itself. It's extremely expensive.
Now, Neeb, again, when we looked in that last game, he really showed that he can intuit how to try to get a win in a completely disastrous situation. The Immortal, the Stalker play. I want to know what Neeb looks like in late game against Rogue when everything goes according to plan. Because Neeb is one of the few Protosses who I think could maybe handle Broodlord Infestor in the late game.
Potentially. I don't know if you'll find a Protoss out there that wants to do that, but I do agree that if he does get to that point, he's definitely one of the few that can make it happen against someone of the caliber of Rogue. Of course, Neeb actually used to be such a late game monster, particularly in this matchup, but
right.
The way that units worked, the balance and whatnot was definitely different back then. The carrier was a lot better. Zergs were relying a little bit more on like Hydralisks and Viper Corruptor and that sort of thing.
Yeah. Robo now coming down here at third base. Now this is Thunderbird, where you pretty much always get a third base. This map is built in such a way that it incentivizes the players to try to take that third, since there's basically only one entrance point in the early part of the game to the third base.
And Neeb opened very carefully here, Showtime and stats, sometimes those kind of Protosses, they want to wall off the actual ramp to all three bases rather than just block the natural. So the third for Neeb is a little bit open, but Rogue's not finding any damage with these lings. He sent some lings across the map for an attempt at a run by, but it got knocked back pretty quickly. And Neeb switching out of Stargate Tech very quickly here. Does it look like he's going to go for too many Oracles, just a couple here, and then go into something a lot more of a powerful ground army focused mid game.
And the gates are coming down. There's a forge as well. And so this is, for the most part, a very passive game. We do have some dive-ins here with these Oracles. Actually miscontrolled there by Neeb. Only eating damage on his Oracle, not a single drone kill.
He might have gotten one, but
definitely
not more than that.
Okay.
Yeah, but we got charge and +1 attack as you do want to do as a Protoss at this point to, as I mentioned, get that big powerful ground army up. And Rogue, as most Zergs at this point want to do, is get that Roach Warren almost blindly. You just get that Roach Warren because there's so many things that a Protoss can do to you that the Roach Warren can just kind of stop. Damn, that is a fast infestation pit.
I almost had to do a double take there.
Neeb
came down so fast.
He didn't see the infestation pit just yet, but I tell you what, Tasteless, something we probably should have mentioned in this map is that it is an incredibly popular Swarm Host Nidus Worm map. There are two spots where the Nidus Worm really is strong and powerful, and he does see it with the Hallucinated Phoenix, by the way, sees the Roach Warren, lair complete, starts the Dark Shrine. I love that from Neeb. Dark Templar, Archons, whatnot, all those things are actually very, very useful up until the point, obviously, as we mentioned the first game, Storm is better, but Archons, getting them up quick and early, really does punish this. Keep in mind that Rogue's doing this off a smaller economy than before.
The splash damage is one of the key things that can help you fight off the Locust here. Now, where's the Nidus going to be? It could be in the upper top center, maybe in the lower left, actually.
Well, usually it'll go like
adjacent to the minerals on the third.
Yeah, like to the southeast of the natural, so you can launch into the natural, and also to the exact right side of the third base, which is
looks like you nailed it, Maynard. Right over here.
Right over there.
And so. Now, spotting the infestation pit should be enough for Neeb. It should telegraph to Neeb that this is coming. So let's see if he's actually going to be ready for it. Again, this is very difficult to deal with, though. This little outpost that Zerg can set up here, you can jettison the Swarm Host right in here and do a pretty high amount of damage. Now, there's no Templar Archives that's going to be sniped here.
Though. Stasis Wards should be able to lock down these Locusts if they dive, and they do. So that is going to be a hold here for Neeb down here. And keep in mind with that Dark Shrine now complete, you can get up to Dark Templar.
But some Lings have now gotten inside of the main. It doesn't look like they're going to get any actually basically anything at all here. They can't kill this pylon in time for sure. So good defense so far by Neeb. Now we have another Nidus coming into the natural here.
And Rogue is just going to continue to pressure here as he's reinforcing this army. Now keep in mind, last game, Rogue did this with a lot more Swarm Hosts, a lot more Roaches and Ravagers. He is starting to make more Roaches now, but the army of Neeb is at this point still better. And I like that he still has his Phoenix patrolling for Overlords. He's just trying to make sure that these Nidus Worms are going to be on the outside and never inside of his infrastructure. Rogue's going to attempt to do exactly that in the third base here, pulling Neeb away for the natural.
Actually, if he can snipe down the Robo, that would be huge.
And he does.
Sick! Unless you're a Protoss player, then it's not sick. But that was really nicely done here. You know, these key structures are so important. If he could actually get in there and get the cybernetics score, that would be huge too.
And the DTs, the other benefit here is that they do hack and slash through those higher armored burrowed Nidus Worms. They kill them quite fast. So this DT is going to be on anti-Nidus Worm duties here. And the Stalkers and the Phoenixes in tandem killing quite a few Overlords. Rogue is spending a lot of resources to make this happen. His economy, or rather his infrastructure on the right side of the map, has been largely untouched. So Neeb's plan here seems to be, I'm going to defend, trade as well as I can, and then when I smell an opening, when I smell blood, I'm going to go across the map and try and punish you for this.
Okay, once again, the Swarm hosts are going to be pelting into the third base, and he's going to get the, he's going to be able to get the cybernetic score. This is bad. Now you can't make any tech or stalkers, for instance. Sentries as well, so this is huge.
Yeah, I mean, Neeb can still make DTs, so he can still make Archons, and he can still make Zealots with charge, but that, you're absolutely right, Tasteless. You do definitely want a good number of Stalkers to handle an army like this. Nidus Worm again at the third base. Neeb just holding on here with the DTs and the Archons. He's actually doing a pretty good job at that third base, only losing a handful of probes. Keep in mind that Neeb this whole time, over 60 probes on 3 bases. Rogue does have a 4th base, so he has a little bit more income, but that is not uncommon at this point. Neeb's actually doing a pretty good job at knocking back this Swarm host Nidus Worm whack-a-mole portion of the ZvP.
Yeah, he's going to try to push in here a little bit further. Nice connections there with those corrosive biles. Does Neeb have enough to shove, though? Can he come out there and actually fight this? Apparently not. He's being driven away.
Neeb will
waiting
shortly...
for +2, I think.
Yeah, that's definitely very, very important. The Locust getting a bit of that production here, also denying a little bit of that sort of the funnel that Neeb made for himself with these structures. Biles trying to connect with the army. Neeb pulls back. He's able to walk in Stalkers again and see the cybernetic score has been remade. And +2 is done for the Protoss, so he does have that scary army. It's just unfortunate for Neeb that he lost a Robo facility, so his immortal count isn't very convincing at the moment.
Okay, more and more roaches are coming out. Looks like we're going to have another dive in here. It does seem like things are starting to quiet down here on the offense, but as I say that, again, several great corrosive biles always connecting with their targets, which is actually not that common in pro games with Ravagers.
Quite true.
Usually they dodge it, you know.
I got what you were picking up there. But
I'm not saying pros are bad guys.
You're just saying that you could probably do better, and that's fair enough. So Neeb is starting to push this back a little bit at his front door here. He's bringing in that army from the third base. Now that it's done with the Nidus Worm wave, and the Nidus Worms are on cooldown, he's going to come forward and try and push back the Nidus Worm head down here in front of his natural, which he gets. So that's lovely. But the Locust wave is about to kick in at that third again. Rogue just trying to Nidus wherever Neeb isn't.
Okay, I think he's starting to stabilize. If he can push up into where the Swarm hosts are, he might have a shot.
Definitely.
If he can just weather the storm here. Now, I got to say, Rogue is having an incredible amount of success by popping Niduses everywhere and forcing the Protoss to respect the threat of armies penetrating the main here.
Neeb losing quite a few units, these Locusts here at the third base. It seemed like he was stabilizing, but Rogue's actually getting a little bit more work done here at that third Nexus, Tasteless. A lot of Neeb's army very battered and bruised, and it's not a very complex army either. He doesn't have a ton of these units that you want to have at this point. You know, he doesn't have that many Archons at all. His mortal count's still not very high. You know, charging +2 is nice, good Stalker count is nice, but, I mean, we just saw how much pure Stalker can do against a Roach Ravager force with a lot of Swarm hosts.
Okay, now this is going to be another wave of Locusts here. A second Nidus Worm comes down. And he's doing a great job of targeting Archons, for instance, but good pickups here with these Warp Prisms. I love it.
Certainly. And yes, Neeb is taking damage. Yes, he's losing units. I think losing the units is probably the worst part. His probe count is still okay, considering he's on 3 bases, but Rogue just will not let him take a 4th base.
Oh my God, it's going to get worse, too.
He's making more and more and more units, and now he has Roach Burrow. Does Neeb have any detection whatsoever? Has he got any observers?
Uh-oh. He's got a cannon over here, but I don't think that's going to last too long.
He's got one observer with his army, so he can engage and chase.
Rogue might end up throwing Neeb off balance. He could end up hammering the third again here with the Locust as all these units are scrambling to try to defend.
This Roach Burrow tactic, very, very similar to the tactic from Rogue in Game 1, but just with a much faster Nidus Worms and Swarm Hosts. The Overseers are with the army now, so the DTs can't do anything cheeky. Neeb just up against the wall here, just trying to defend on both fronts. And it looked good for a bit, but Rogue is definitely starting to make some magic happen.
Okay, again, he does deny these Locusts from actually taking the Nexus out. I'm getting worried, though. There's a 5th base being taken very quietly on the far right side of the map. And remember, as Neeb's holding all this stuff up, he's also going to eventually run out of minerals if he doesn't get a 3rd. And right now, the clench is so tight on Neeb here, I don't know if he's going to be able to break free.
Lurker also starting up very quickly here for Rogue as well. Not
Yeah.
very quickly, but
Well,
you know, he's going to be able to have Lurkers if Neeb does break out of his natural, which has been a bit of a pipe dream for the American Protoss so far. If he does that, he's going to have to deal with Lurkers, which is a big problem for a guy that doesn't have that many mortals.
But you know, Maynard, another thing as well is you can use the Lurkers to contain here. There's only one exit for the Protoss right now.
That too.
So if you have a big amount of Lurkers there, they're just never going to get out. We have some more Warpins coming as these Roaches and Ravagers are beginning to get thinned out by the hard counter of Stalkers and Immortals here.
Okay.
But oh my god,
Yeah.
Rogue gets the third.
And this is where you go across the map. You lost your third Nexus. Neeb, once again, needs to go for a Hail Mary. He needs to get out there and just try and kill Rogue and do his best. It's so hard to be convinced that that's going to happen, though, as Rogue just pulls back those Swarm hosts. He's getting a lot of Roaches up. He's even making Lings right now. He's just like, I need to make anything. All of my lava is going to be made into defensive units right now because this is the only chance for Rogue to lose this game is to fall to the push of Neeb.
Okay. A lot of Roaches and Ravagers have still been made here, and even though Stalkers and Immortals are good against that, it's not enough. GG. Rogue takes game 2. Wow. That was one of the most brutal ZvPs I have ever seen.
Rogue was like, did game 1 seem tough? How about
like,
I
watch
just style on you
this.
a little bit more here in game 2?
I mean, that was... As a Protoss player, that is hard to watch. I mean, you can see Neeb flustered right now. Rogue was everywhere.
Yeah, I mean,
That's-
it's definitely hard. It's just one of those things where it snowballs so quickly, as Nidus Worms generally do. You know, if you're not on top of the first few waves, as soon as they find damage, it just snowballs. It's really, really hard.
Yeah.
And there's been a lot of critical moments. So the first game, Templar Archives getting sniped a couple times.
Right.
That game, losing robotic facility, really, really stunned. With
Similar
Cybernetic
story.
score going down, you know, you're trying to deal with Roach Ravager, not able to nail Stalkers for a little bit. It's just a very, very frustrating game for Neeb. It looks one-sided, but I'm hoping that Neeb can pull up his socks a little bit, tighten his play, and really have a convincing game 3.
You do deserve this time, Maynard.
All right. In the top left here at match point, the GSL Code S champion of Season 3. He is
Jin Air Greenwing. Rogue.
Maybe the thing that Neeb needed most of all was an American to do his intro. In the bottom right, in the blue, our American player, he is.
Ting. Neeb.
Take my energy.
all you Neeb fans out there. Prepare your Twitch chat spirit bomb,
That's right.
because he is going to need something. Feels like he's all alone out there. He's just having a very, very tough time against this Nidus Swarmhost play. I mean, as Showtime before, I mean, they just did not have the right response, or at least wasn't able to execute the right response against this play to just have any kind of convincing follow-up to that.
Man, I hope we can go to a game 4 here. This is actually moving too quickly. In this series, I wanted to have a longer one. Now, both games, we had Nidus Worms used, and you can see why.
Oh, I didn't get a read. Was on the back.
I didn't get it. They try to be fast, but not as fast as our production team.
A freak is like, you are going to watch this probe scout this main and like it.
So, what can Neeb do here? Maybe he needs to attack in a little bit earlier. I mean, you don't have to deal with a Nidus Rush if you're already attacking into them, but the problem is that Rogue is a player, I'm even having a hard time remembering PVZs where he loses to timing attacks that I've casted. I'm actually digging into my memory here, and it's not coming up. He's very, very solid at everything.
Yeah, so some of the online games I've seen from Rogue, in Oli Ball League, which I sometimes cast, is he does do some more timing attacks because, like I mentioned, as much as people keep talking about Rogue's late game, he is also one of those players where he's like, well, if I can get this best of 3 done in 15 minutes, that's completely fine of me.
Yeah.
It's completely fine.
You know the thing with ooh,
Okay.
Twilight Council, I like it. You know the thing with Rogue, man? Here's my problem.
Here's your problem.
Here's my beef.
All right.
You know who Rogue is? He's Superman. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Superman's like, oh, he's like the strongest person in the world, and he can fly. You're like, really? He's like, oh, and he has X-ray vision. I'm like, what are you, like 10 years old? Does he have every power?
Yeah, when you're
Like,
a
well,
kid and you're inventing powers on the fly because you're play fighting with your friends.
Yeah, and then you're like, well, does he have any weaknesses? It's like, oh, yeah, he's like weak from a rock from another planet, so,
Which no one has.
Which nobody has, by the way. It's like,
Is rolling.
well, can't we just, Can we be more like Batman, you know, where like, you know, he's got a dark past and all this stuff? What I'm getting at is like, Rogue is the ultimate Zerg. He can fly, he has super strength, he has X-ray vision.
Well, tasteless.
Well, actually, maybe we're going to find if he has X-ray vision because this isn't an Adept Rush. So
yeah.
if he can X-ray vision through the fog of war, maybe he will see this. Otherwise,
I hope this build is Kryptonite for your Korean Superman here, because this is going to be the best shot that Neeb has, I think, to try and end Rogue, is to avoid that whole Nidus Worm thing. But Rogue sees the Twilight Council being chrono boosted, and that means that glaives are coming, or I guess charge lots, but generally it's going to be resonating glaives, and that means that Rogue has all the information he needs, and for someone like Rogue, that's extremely frightening for Neeb. It's like, this kind of relies on being like a gotcha sort of, you know.
Yeah, it's one of those builds where you do it, you go, as you come in.
Here I am.
Surprise!
Yep. That's, you can see that Rogue's just making a ton of lings right now.
Yeah, I think he uses X-ray vision, he knows. Still though, Adepts, you know, if you can get him in the right position and hit in certain areas, they're very, very strong.
I like this from Rogue, going for +1 attack on the lings as well. It means that this might be one of those games where Rogue just makes like a million bajillion Zerglings. And then after cleaning up the Adepts, just comes across the map and breaks the natural Neeb. He's going for double Stargate as a follow-up, which Rogue scouts, by the way, with his Speed Overlord.
Yeah, immediately spotted that. He literally could not have scouted that earlier.
Yeah.
So he's going to come forward. Note the lings are staying out of the vision. Okay, now he's going to try to pounce on these. Oh my God, Rogue's so good.
He knows the shade's finished, so in come those lings.
Stop!
These Adepts are in big trouble. They're trying to shade away, but Rogue has been nothing but making units and scouting that chrono boosted Twilight Council. The Adepts do find a nice little nook to hang out in, but there is still so many lings here, Tasteless.
Run, Neeb, no! Okay, more of these Adepts are going down. It looks like only 2 will be able to shade out. And that is massive, because when Protoss go for these Adept attacks, they are kind of halting progress as far as tech goes.
Yep.
And so the fact that he's killed off 9 Adepts, and Zerg is always fine losing lings. They're going to trade into anything, right?
Yeah, that's fine.
He's now going to try to get a third base up. Now, the double Oracle play is cool, but I don't know if Neeb's going to be on the right footing here to defend necessarily.
I kind of expected Phoenixes, but I like the Oracles a little bit more, actually, as Rogue, with getting +1 attack, his plan is clearly to get tons of Ling Bane, which Oracles are very, very good against, and he is continuously building Queens, though. So it seems like he is starting to, you know, smell what Neeb's cooking here, picking up what Neeb's putting down, if you will.
I like cooking, personally, but we've had the third base coming down now, and Neeb has gone for a completely alternate tech path here. Okay, it's mass Adepts. He's getting a Robo, but he's continuing to pump out Oracles 2 at a time. Oh my God, it's going to be another Nidus play here.
Nidus Lings, and looks like the Overlord's in the main base here for Rogue. Keep in mind that he also has Overlord speed, so we can send more across the map. The Adepts are going to finally go down. They forced a bit of drones off the line, but Rogue isn't caring about drones right now, Tasteless. He's on 36 of them. He's not looking to play a long game here. He's going to go for a nice big Ling, Nidus, Queen all in.
But I'll tell you what, Maynard.
If
Neeb can hold this, he's going to be in a much, much, much better spot than Rogue will.
Yeah, I mean, his economy is a lot better.
Yeah.
It's just that's going to be the name of the game here for the next couple of minutes. It's just Neeb trying to hold on against all these +1 attack Lings and Banes. And the Queens are about to load up into the Worm from down under and assist their babies with this attack.
All right, the Oracles are actually on the other side of the map. They need to be back here defending.
We need those Oracles coming in, but there's, once again, just so many Queens. Oh no, the Oracles coming across the map. They're getting a lot of damage here from those Queens. Looks like he's going to try and do econ damage to Rogue, but of course we know with our caster god cams that econ damage is nice and all, but Rogue is already all in.
Yep, the Nidus is going to be out here. This is a lot of damage on these workers. As long as Neeb holds the third, he can do this, but this is going to be very difficult.
He's got a lot of shield batteries at that third base. He sees the Queens. Obviously, Neeb knows exactly what's going to happen here, so the Immortal is important as well. Immortal's very, very nice against these Queens. Neeb just needs to keep making batteries. There's no such thing as too many shield batteries here.
Okay, he's about to attack into the third. He's drawing some of the attention away here. The Queens are coming forward, signaling the beginning of the all-in. There is so few Protoss units here. He's going to have to use the Nexus for cover, as well as these batteries here. If he can thin out the link count, he might be able to bounce back.
A couple of the shield batteries at the far left are actually out of range of everything. Only one pylon is powering them as well. Neeb trying to hold on to that natural, while the Queens are also just assaulting this third base, making it very, very hard for the Oracles to come in and help. But so far, Neeb is still holding on. A couple Banelings here from Rogue, but not that many. It's just primarily Lings. Neeb still has a chance to hold on here.
Yeah, he's trying. The Lings are going to come around here from the bottom. And now there's almost a full-on surround. The Oracles are going to come back to
They're
try
out
to
of
snipe
energy.
down. Oh yeah, that's right. They don't have enough.
Yeah, with that energy, they cannot fight. Rogue's just trying to go for a Nidus Worm in the main base here. So without the Oracle energy, this is actually starting to look very, very bad for Neeb. That third Nexus is going to go down.
Oh my God, the Nexus is taken out immediately. Yeah, did you see that?
Yeah, he was trying to
Beginning of a
recall.
recall.
Neeb just kind of falling apart at the seams a little bit here. The Oracle's going for that Nidus Worm in the main base. They do have enough juice to zap that bad boy down, so the Nidus Worm in the main won't go down, but this this front belongs to the Zerg. Keep in mind that even though Rogue is making drones right now, he is still extremely committed. He's killed the third base of the Protoss, and he has a third hatchery, but that's mainly for show. It's for feng shui. It's not actually for an economy.
For feng shui. This is bad. This is bad, but a two-base Protoss can still
60 probes.
manage. Yeah, he could still manage on 2 bases because the Zerg is on 3. And the Zerg does not have hardly any workers. It's 27 drones right now. 26 drones, excuse me. So, oh, and that number's going to get a little bit lower here with this harass. So if he can stabilize and creep back out and take a third and keep this Zerg on 3 bases, I think he's going to be okay.
Definitely, and I like what Neeb's doing here as Rogue starts to make those drones going, oh, I didn't kill him here. Okay, I need to turn this into a game. He is making drones, but Neeb is slowing that down. Like you mentioned, Tasteless, those Oracles are still alive. They're killing a couple here, a couple there. And the more he can keep the economy of the Zerg on the back foot while he powers on 2 bases here, we might not even need that third Nexus. He can go across the map with a much bigger army. I mean, the army of Rogue is not complex at all. It's just Ling Bane with a ton of queens.
Okay, I think there's hope, guys.
Definitely,
I think that Neeb can actually do this. He's come out, he's clearing this out. He has units that can actually directly combat Lings. The threat of the Queens coming with the army is gone, as the Nidus has been eliminated.
And he's going to have Archons in this army, which is fantastic against the composition of Rogue, and his army supply is monstrous. This is one of those situations where I think Neeb can actually drop the third Nexus and then just move out.
I think you're right, yeah. He has so many probes that he's actually long-distance mining from his third base here. But Rogue does have a plan. He's upgraded drop, and it looks like he wants to try to come in and pop some Banelings as this counterattack from Neeb is going to come.
The Ling's going for that third Nexus. Yes, they might kill these Zealots. Yes, they might even cancel the third, but the real problem for Rogue is that army of the Protoss, it is big, it is scary, and it is so much more powerful than the army of the Zerg. Neeb is looking really good with his push, Tasteless.
Okay, he's coming now. Looping up to the third, I believe. The Lings are able to take out some of these reinforcements, but here come the Adepts. Again, the worker count, it was at 27 earlier. It popped up to 40, but now that number is going to start going down if Neeb can keep killing off these drones.
Yeah, the Adepts just making sure that Rogue does not have a macro game ahead of him here no matter what happens. The Adepts just canceling that shade, pulling those Lings away from the battle. Neeb starting to move the bulk of his forces towards that third base. Rogue's been making Banelings. He's even got Overlords loaded with Banelings as well and maybe hit the sentries here.
Oh, he's going to try to drop right on top of the army over here. This is a brilliant move here by Rogue.
But it's just a lot of Archons, so the Banelings don't do a whole lot of that all, and Neeb fights back, and we are going to get that game 4 that you wanted, Tasteless. It's your birthday and Christmas all at once.
Ready my burgers. Ready my hot dogs. I can see the Statue of Liberty smiling right now, Maynard.
I'm pretty sure if you're watching from New York City, look out your window. I think I saw another smile on the face of that Lady Liberty out there in the harbor.
A win here for Neeb, but it was Rogue really that went for a pretty aggressive timing attack. Guys, we're going to go to a short break. When we return, we continue on with Rogue versus Neeb. Don't go away. hear that? Hear that sound with my mouth? That was a little bit weird. I just made like a Joker sound with my mouth.
Yeah. That was for you guys out there in Twitch chat with your headsets.
Didn't know my mic was hot yet. Welcome back, everybody. We're going to go into Game 4 with Rogue versus Neeb. I'm sure all of you at home are hoping that an American can win here. We're going to find out if that's going to be the case. I'll tell you what, though, Rogue is looking stronger.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely still the stronger player in the series so far. The first couple games were quite one-sided. And that last game, it felt like Rogue was like, I'm going to continue to style here because you can't stop me from doing that.
Yeah.
But Neeb showed him that, in fact, he can.
Yeah, we're matching today, by the way. Look at that.
Oh, yeah. God, we look
Nice.
good.
We look good. We look Sunday church ready over here at WCS.
Well, it is Sunday, and as far as I'm
Yeah, I
concerned,
guess
the
it's
GSL
true.
studio is church
Yeah,
for
this
e-gaming.
is my religion.
Yeah.
So we got a short little delay, but we'll be going into the game pretty soon here. I don't know what Neeb can do if Rogue actually doesn't Night Us All In and just plays more passively. And I want to point out that last game, that was much more of a Night Us All In than game 1 and 2 was.
Yeah, I mean, you're doing off the back of like sub-30 drones. It's extremely committed. The numbers speak for themselves at the bottom of the screen there. But it's I liked how that. If you guys cast your mind back to how that game started, it was going to be a Resonant Glaives Adept attack, and I think stuff like that is I think what Neeb should be doing in the series, trying to hide stuff, trying to be cheeky, trying to be aggressive.
Should he cannon rush or something? Just super cheesy.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Maybe.
You know, we're even seeing the greatest defensive macro Protosses of all time, like Showtime and Stats, drop Forges and Cannon Rush, and that is the state of the mentality of some of these Protosses right now. I just want to kill you now.
Yeah.
Not later.
Get me out of this game as quickly as possible.
Yes. Yeah.
Get me against a Protoss or a Terran, please. I don't know if it's going to happen, though. Now, our players have joined the game, so I think we don't have to fill time anymore. We're going to Triton. Now, if Neeb wins here, it's 2-2. Rogue still has some wiggle room, though. I mean, he could try a cheese or, another all-in or whatever he wants. It's looking tough. Our game is now loading up. Again, this is a best-of-5 between Rogue versus Neeb. The winner is not out of the group, nor is the loser. We're still early on in this part of the tournament. Anyways, let's continue on with Game 4 right now.
I'm going to go ahead and introduce this player because last time it seemed to work out.
Yeah, I think he won because of my intro, so you go ahead and do the Korean.
Let's go. In the top left here, the GSL Season 3 champion, he is...
Jin Air Greenwing, Rogue.
In the bottom right in the blue, from the land of the free and the home of the brave, he is...
Team Neeb.
Oh, we got USA chants going on here.
Hell yeah.
Yes. More nationalism.
Nationalism isn't
yes.
weird. Yeah. There's actually a lot of American fans here, man.
Yeah.
Meeting a few of them after the, after the show, before the show, that sort of thing.
Yeah, this is
It's great that we have a
good
crowd
audience. Thanks for coming down, guys, in the audience.
Yeah, and it's just so nice to have a crowd for, for group stage at BlizzCon as well. Usually we do this from a studio, like from a TV studio, so...
Yeah, this is fun having a live audience here.
I prefer this.
There's a guy in the audience with a Jurassic Park shirt that's in Japanese.
Yes,
so
that
cool.
was...
I get props to that guy. I want to go and be like, where'd you get that shirt? But he'll probably just say, Japan. I'll be like, oh yeah, that would make sense.
That would make a lot of sense.
Oh, okay, got it.
It's not often I get hoodie envy, but
yeah,
I'm a connoisseur of some pretty fine hoodies myself. But yeah, that guy's got me. He's got me good.
Yes. So again, in this game, we got to see if Neeb wants to try to go for a quick win. I think Rogue, after being up 2 games, thought, well, why would I not try just an all-in anyways? I don't want to show too much of my late game ZvP. If I can just cheese out a win here, let's try it. And it almost worked until Neeb bounced back.
Yeah, it looked a little dicey. He was taking damage, but it seemed like he's like, oh, I have a response to this. There are a few Zergs on the European ladder that like doing kind of those kind of things where where Neeb would have had a bit of practice, and of course the Korean Zerg's generally quite aggressive, where he's had a lot of his practice in the history as well. So he's a very, very good defensive Protoss, but does still seem to struggle when it comes to defending against the Swarm hosts.
Here comes that Stargate now. So this is so far looking pretty ordinary as far as Protoss versus Zerg builds go. We're going to still have to wait. If I had to imagine, it's probably just going to be him eventually taking a third base and powering up, right? Couple Oracles, maybe one Phoenix to neutralize a Queen and, you know, all that, but probably a pretty passive opening here.
That's generally how this kind of opening goes. Yeah, a couple of depths for a little bit of map control, you know, maybe drone kills if you're lucky, but the Shades are for a nice, cheap, free scout. He's going to let the Shade finish because he's only seeing 4 lings, and the Adept can dance around those and win that engagement all day.
Yeah, and this is going to allow him to get some scouting here. Now, there's not much to scout for since we can see everything, but he needs to confirm that there's nothing too crazy that's going to be happening for him in this game.
Now, likewise, Rogue did get that sub 2 minute third base here, so plenty of lava, plenty of production, and is going for Overlord speed one more time. Now, every time Rogue's gotten that Overlord speed and had a look and see that it's a Stargate opening, his response has been to drop an Infestation Pit and bring the pain to Protoss Town.
Yes. We have not had a game where there was not a Nidus, by the way. Yeah, at this point in time, the Nidus is almost just a thing you have to tech into, it seems like, as a Zerg player. It used to be we'd have games that would go on for a long time. I guess Ranger doesn't use Niduses as much, but especially these Korean Zergs are very keen on the Nidus play.
Yeah, Rainer really likes his, in this matchup, he really likes his Roach, Ravager, Link Bane, going up to, you know, Hive and that sort of thing without relying on the Nidus Worm too heavily. But Rogue just really loves the strategy Dark as well. So maybe a little bit more prevalent in the Korean scene. But this isn't, you know, a committed Stargate opening here from Neeb. He's going for, you know, so we saw the Twilight Count's gonna drop there, and also the Oracle's starting to fly on in. This one's just sort of, I don't know, I can't tell you what that one was up to. It just sort of flew over the third hatchery, took a bunch of damage and left.
Yeah, not doing too much here. So a lot of the teching that we're seeing here from Neeb is similar to Game 2. I think that Neeb was not anticipating a crazy all-in, and I don't think we got to see the full development of what the strategy is that he's going to try here.
Well, this is going to be another Resonating Glaives Adept composition here. Rogue is getting ready for that with a lot of Lings, making a Baneling Nest as well. Neeb's Adepts are seeing more and more Lings rally out, but he may not have an idea of how many exactly Rogue's making here. The Oracle's coming in to assist those Adepts with the attack, lifting up the Queen as well. The Adepts actually trading pretty nicely here, considering those Oracles are helping out a ton. Now they're in the drone line, pushing those back. The Shade goes forward, but I really don't know if he wanted to finish that Shade.
Yeah, he does take the Queen out, but we're just going to be seeing the beginnings of the Adept attack, because Glaives is still a little ways away from being finished here. Nicely done, does not lose that second Oracle, by the way. But yeah, we should see some heavy waves of Adepts coming out. So far, Neeb's only lost 2, so he's controlled this actually very, very well.
Yeah, really nice trading. The Oracle's helped out a ton there. Rogue's starting to get some Banelings out to help out with the Adept defense. Once again, going for a +1 attack for the melee as well, so Lings and Banes are both going to benefit from that. Neeb is just going to be straight Adepting for a little bit. I would like to see some splash damage head up towards here for the Protoss. As the Baneling count gets higher and higher, it does get scary for the Mass Adept, and there's double Robo, so I like that a lot from Neeb. The Adept still shading, still pinning Rogue back. I like this a lot.
Okay, he cancels the Shade here and decides to not overextend and move in any further, especially after seeing those Banelings. But I think these Lings are actually going to surround, and then these Banes are going to get a good connect. You need to split these Adepts as if they were Marines. He does a kind of meh job of that and takes a lot of damage from those Banes.
Oh, I don't know, man. He still has a lot of Adepts left over, killing 10 drones. The Oracle's at the third, the Adepts in the natural. They're going to the main as well. The Lair's not done, so all the Nidus Worms, the Infestation Pits, everything that spells doom for Neeb is actually not here, and Rogue is taking insane damage, Tasteless.
21 kills on these drones, and it might start getting worse. I think we have a few more. No, I guess that's it. There's no more Adepts coming out here, but the third base is being acquired. Can Rogue counterattack? I guess that's the big question. Back at home, I think with the placement especially of those sentries and the Zealot, it's going to be hard for the Lings to get a proper surround here. And from here, it's Immortals coming out 2 at a time with that double Robo.
Yeah, but the Immortals double Robo is a little exposed. There's Oracles coming home to help. The sentries are here as well. This time the Robos are going to be fine for now. He's going to get those first couple of Immortals out. He's making a bunch of gateways right now as well. Going to be switching over from Adepts into Charge Lots by the looks of things with +1 attack. Surely about to start here for Neeb. Rogue really committing to this melee build. Doesn't look like he's going to be going for Swarm Host, at least not just yet. So he's just relying on Ling Bane. And that kind of starts to fall off pretty fast against Protoss Tasteless, especially when the Archon count starts to, you know, exist. You know, I was going to say when it gets really high, but I don't know, 2 Archons are still really good. You know, when you go from 0 Archons to 1.
When they become a thing, man.
When they become a thing.
Yes.
I was about to say, when it gets really high, I'm like, no, wait, you don't need to have a high amount of Archons when you're up against Lings. It's actually just, you know, just having them.
No, you're right. I mean, they're a major factor here. I actually, by the way, I love how Neeb has completely rearranged his approach to PvZ. He saw what didn't work in Game 1 and Game 2, and so this time around he goes with that adept pressure, not an all-in or anything like that, but a little bit of a pressure attack, switches into double robo, and then he can fill that in with Archons and all this other tech. So, I mean, this is really cool. I don't know how well it's going to work, but this does seem to be designed to basically handle this is how it ends. This is basically designed to take on a Zerg as they're going to take a 4th base, which is, I think, exactly you know, how Neeb should be playing this.
Yeah. Well, some people might be watching from home and going, oh, he's on 64 drones. That didn't matter at all that he did the adept attack. Actually, it did a lot. It slowed the Zerg down a ton. Look at the army here of Rogue. It's Roachling Bane. There's not that much of it. And Neeb has Archons, Immortals, is about to have +1 attack. He's got a Prism with this army as well, and he still has a lot of energy on the sentries as well for force fields.
All right, he's going to push in now. There's a lot of Banes, but it's going to matter exactly how they connect. That's why the Archons and the Immortals are here in the front to tank the damage. Oh, man, the force fields are actually interfering a little bit here in the progress of this. He wants to keep the Zealots in the back until the Banelings are gone.
And the Prism.
Yeah, where is the Prism?
I would like that thing to come and join in here.
Oh,
Neeb's
I
charge
think
loss
it's
getting
below
the
the
front
screen.
line there. And Rogue,
GG!
back broken once again to the counterattack of Neeb.
Maynard, if George Washington and Abraham Lincoln were here right now, they would be high-fiving.
They would be.
Okay?
They'd have a big pitcher of beer, an American cigar on their front porch, and just cheering.
They'd be having a Bud Light.
Happy that their forefathers happy wherever they are.
They'd be sitting at home with their beers, wearing Crocs,
Like,
enjoying the games.
Our people are going to be just fine.
Yes.
What they say when they put their feet up.
We've got an American tied up 2-2 with a Korean legend Zerg Rogue. But it's all going to come down to Disco Bloodbath.
Now, this is the final map of the series here. Neither player particularly picked this map. And that's generally how it works here for map number 5. So I'm wondering what the strategies are. I feel like this is going to be the time where Rogue's like, all right, I'm done with this dance.
Americans, get the flags out. Make sure you don't let it touch the floor. And when you're done, make sure you fold it up into a little triangle shape. We're going to start this game now. Let's go.
I'm going to do this one more time. We'll
Yeah,
see how it ends.
let's see if it works. I think
See
these
how it
intros
ends.
I'm
No
doing
particular reason.
Yeah, go ahead.
On the far right here of Disco Bloodbath, he is
Jin Air Greenwing, Rogue.
Got some whips in the crowd there for Rogue.
That's right. In the upper left, in the blue, from the United States of America, he is
Team Neeb.
The old name chants of MLG yesteryear.
Yes.
Brings a tear to the corner of my eye. Nostalgia is real.
So, I really like what Neeb has done to adjust the PvZ, or I'm sorry, adjust his PvZ, the PvZ. Coming in here with these adepts, doing a little bit of damage, taking the Zergon directly where their drones are, and then switching into the double Robo Immortal. A very different pacing from the PvZs we've been casting here. And I'm curious if Neeb is really onto something. Because he didn't do this in Game 1 and 2. And it seems like it was a dramatic shift that happened in Game 3 that he's now sticking with to try to close this out.
Tasteless, I'm going to make a crazy call here. It's going to be insane.
Go.
You
Yes.
ready? You guys ready?
Yeah.
Ready for this, everyone? You guys watching, listening?
Are you sitting down?
Are you sitting down?
Yeah, I am.
There's going to be swarm hosts in this game, Tasteless. I think Rogue is like, all right,
Is this why they call you the wild card caster?
Yeah, it's not just my crazy
I always
head.
wondered why they called you the Maverick of esports.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, e-gaming. Yes.
Yeah, I'm a renegade caster. No one can pin me down.
Wow.
Yeah, making calls like that. No, it's just that it's such a, in all seriousness, it was such a convincing strategy from Rogue. Like, it was not close. He was just like, you know, we're just sitting there kind of like clutching at our temples like, oh, this is horrifying.
Yeah, this is hard to watch.
Yeah.
I wonder. I wonder if part of it is that the adept pressure makes it harder to get into the Nidus. Because you need to get all your drones out immediately, you know, with the Nidus, because you're going to eventually halt it and then only be making attacking units to pump out onto their side of the map.
Well, that's why I want Neeb to keep doing things like, you know, glaive adept attacks and timings like that with oracles, because if he just sits here and he's like, oh, I'm going to just, you know, go into the mid game and just defend and do regular Protoss standard play, then Rogue's just going to run away with it. You know, it feels like it's advantage Rogue at that point. Neeb needs to force Rogue's hand other than the other way around.
Yeah, what Neeb was doing in that last game specifically, it's more of a control play, because you have to have an answer to the adepts. It starts to eliminate certain options from what the Zerg can get away with. Whereas in actually a lot of these PvZs we've seen, you know, this week alone, the Protosses have been much more passive and interested in the later part of the mid game. So yeah, I mean, let's see. I'm looking for those glaives this time around.
Or anything, like even a you know, a charge lot attack or kind of prism play would be really nice. But everything's still rounding up very standard at the start here, and Rogue is scouting ahead with those overlords, seeing that it is looking very standard here from Neeb, and we are seeing the Robo a fair bit quicker, so no Twilight Council, at least not just yet. And this is, yeah, so the Zerg is just respecting the Stargate opening here, and what Rogue's plan is at the moment, not super clear, not until Lair's done.
We've mentioned it before, and I thought it was going to come up in one of these games, but here we are in Game 5, and it hasn't at all. I thought we were going to see the Zerg eventually get into endgame with Broodlord and Fester, but Rogue is clearly more than capable of taking out a top-tier Protoss with a Nidus play as it is. Now, you know, a lot of what I'm seeing here seems to resemble kind of a Game 1, Game 2 style of play, Maynard.
Yep. I mean, there is a reason why Neeb plays like this, and why any Protoss play like this when you're listening, like, stop being standard when you're watching from home. It's because it's the thing that they are so much more comfortable in. And when you're on the big stage here, the biggest tournament, you know, or any big tournament, you want to play what you're most comfortable with.
Right.
And this is what Neeb is comfortable with, clearly.
So we don't have any kind of double robo play here just yet. Instead, it's going to be the par for the course Oracle dive in, trying to get a couple drones here. Probably going to pick up the Queen as well with the Phoenix. And let's see how many worker kills he actually gets.
Double spore from Rogue, which is crazy, by the way. Like the main base, it seems like he's expecting a lot more Stargate pressure than there actually is. It's just 2 Oracles and 1 Phoenix.
Yeah, now behind this, as I was saying, everything looks pretty ordinary, but behind this, there's 5 more gates coming down.
A lot of gateways from Neeb.
So this is going to be a type of attack. Neeb's making it look like he's going to play in Game 1 and 2. That was sick. He didn't lose either Oracle.
Very close. Now, Rogue, if he sees the gateways...
So let's see, he sees 3 there, which is...
He already has a Roach Warren.
Not alarming. Where's the other gates? I guess they have to be in the main.
Yeah, there they are.
Dun dun dun!
Aha! So now Rogue with that lair finishing up, and get Roach speed, no doubt, and plenty of units. He doesn't want to drone up any more than this at the moment. At least unless the Protoss tries to just chill with this army and just sort of like, you know, force out units for the Zerg. Which is definitely possible. You know, Neeb is going towards a 3rd Nexus. He could just use these gates to, you know, have a powerful army and just take a bit of an economic hit. A nice Oracle play, by the way, this triple Oracle. Finding damage, they're diving for that Queen, and getting some drones as well.
Oh my god, he's so good! Oh, he lost 1 Oracle.
You jinxed him, Tasteless.
He's still pretty good, though, but not as good as I meant when I said it. So, taking out some Queens, slowing him down. 3rd base being taken here. We're not going to have any kind of sharp timing push. But this is fine. You can slow down while, you know, making your workers, attacking units, excuse me, a little bit. Just take a 3rd, make sure this is safe. But again, when you play like that, we get closer and closer to the end game.
Now Rogue's going to go for a Ling drop in the main base by the looks of things here.
Yep. Something
that he did in game number 1. Didn't really find too much efficacy with it, but it was still a little bit annoying for Neeb. And he is moving out here with the Prism. So that attack that we were expecting, it took a little bit longer to kick in because he took a 3rd Nexus, but it is coming. And, oh, another Oracle pickoff there. That's actually really annoying. Neeb, with these Oracles, does help his army out a lot.
Okay, so this attack is coming in. Yeah, the Oracles are excellent against Zergling specifically. He's going to come forward. And this is a lot of creep over here. I'm curious to see if he's actually going to push on it. It looks like he is.
Yeah, he definitely should.
And I don't believe there's any observer here, so he can't be killing creep tumors on the way.
And Rogue is prioritizing Roach and Ravager here, so he is making a lot of Lings because you know, there's not many Adepts, not many Charge Lots. Definitely a good addition. But this army of Neeb is very anti-Roach, very anti-Ravager. He's got lots of energy on those sentries as well. And in comes the defense of Rogue. Can he fight back Neeb's army? That Prism helping his army out a ton. He can trade so well here against this army with good control. Some of the sentries on the front line starting to get taken down. Rogue's army of Roach is getting closer and closer. Neeb even loses some pros back at home to the Ling drop.
Oh my god, he's already taken a lot of damage over there. The two Immortals are still alive. I spoke too soon. One is taken out. And it appears as though there should be enough, especially as the rest of these Lings hatch here.
Yeah.
This attack has been held off. Meanwhile, the Ling drop happening over here is going to kill a lot of these probes.
Yeah, forcing Neeb to warp in back at home and pulling his attention away from this attack. Rogue defending very, very well here. And what did I tell you, Tasselbubs? There's that infestation pit, and there's the worm from down under in production here for Rogue.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, this is bad. This is bad. The attack failed. Neeb is up against the ropes here, and he is about to get pummeled.
Yep.
Pummeled by these Nidus networks.
Rogue is about to hit that point where he's going to try and keep the Protoss contained on their bases. This Oracle being very annoying. This is nice. You're going to get a few free Ravages like this. Always great.
Well, yeah, he's got to take whatever he can get here,
Absolutely.
but I do worry that as the Nidus finishes, and here we go, right into the Swarm hosts. I mean, Protoss can't even get out here and deny this, I don't think.
No, I mean, he lost those Oracles, like you mentioned earlier, which are so critical for pretty much everything, for attacking, defending, tagging the army, that sort of thing. So the Oracles being dead is annoying. Neeb does see this Nidus Worm. He knows the Swarm hosts are coming. He knows this thing is going to be loaded with Heck Muffins. He's got the Immortals in this prison, which is definitely a good anti-Nidus Swarm host countermeasure, you know, being able to chase these Nidus Worm heads around. But it is still going to be tough for him to actually hold on when those Locusts start to fire out against his infrastructure.
Hey, there's another Nidus that's going to pop up over here. The
Okay,
Immortals,
okay.
oh,
I like that. Very
good
nice
save
Neeb.
there.
Very nice.
Yeah, and he'll be able to take out that Nidus network, but there's already another one popping up over here in the top center.
Which Neeb knows about. You know, using his hallucinating phoenixes to basically see where he needs to defend, where he needs to consolidate his forces. Rogue just continuing to pop up Nidus Worms absolutely everywhere with his Speed Overlords. Force Field's going down a bit preemptively there for Neeb. The Lurkers, though, not caring about that front line. They're going for the juicy underbelly here, going for those sentries. A load up in the prison to save them, though. Neeb reinforcing with that Gateway army, but continuing to take damage from the Lurkers and the Roaches and the Ravagers. Neeb's army getting a little bit thinned here by those Corrosive Vials and by the DPS of that Zerg force.
Look at this, Roaches and Ravagers driving Immortals and Stalkers down a ramp as they continue to dominate at that third base. Now we've got the Protoss finally pushing him away, but the reinforcement point is so close here with that Nidus.
Yes, sir. The Nidus Worm head continuing to be popped out here, and there is not going to be any breaks on this train, Tasteless. Nidus Worm after Nidus Worm is going to be happening here from Rogue, whether he wins or loses.
Yeah, and he's ready to have some more Locusts come out here.
Oh, those Vials. Devastating
Ouch.
Vial connections there for Neeb, and he needs everything to go right here. Losing any units cost inefficiently is not the name of the game at this point. Oh, the Locust in the backside. He's got nowhere to run and nowhere to hide. Rogue all over Neeb here in Game 5.
Oh my gosh, he takes out another Immortal. Both these Immortals are in the orange here as far as health goes. There's just too many Roaches. There's too many Ravagers. GG! Rogue wins.
So the player intro meta has been
I messed
foiled.
up that, I messed up that intro. Thought I gave him all my energy.
Everyone tweet at Colby Tasteless. It's all his fault. But Rogue, in all seriousness, did play very well in that
accept
series.
Full responsibility for what I have done.
As commissioner of e-gaming.
That's right.
Chairman and
As
CEO
the
of e-gaming
CEO
Incorporated.
of e-gaming,
Yeah.
I dropped the ball.
Tripping at the finish
Now, guys, Neeb's not eliminated yet. Nope, there's still hope. Rogue is going to go into the winner's match. Neeb will be in the elimination match.
Be against a laser.
Yeah. Ooh, the laser's good too. Any Zerg.
Yeah. Oh, a bad combo.
Ooh.
It's a rough combo right there. So, yeah, very excited for Rogue Trap.
Yeah.
A rematch at the finals.
Sure. Yeah, I think Neeb had the right idea, you know, in game 3 and game 4, but he just wasn't able to deliver it there in game 5. Anyways, let's go to Smix and see how Rogue is feeling now that he's beaten Neeb 3-2.
It was Korea taking on the USA, and at least this time around, it's Korea that reigns supreme. Congratulations, Rogue. You were taking on Neeb, who the last time you played him was last year at the GSL round of 8. Back then, he beat you 3-1. How is it playing against Neeb once again today?
일단 축하드리고요. 마지막으로 닙 선수를 만난 게 작년 GSL 8강에서 그때는 닙 선수가 3대1로 이겼었는데 오늘 닙 선수를 만난 기분이 어떠셨나요?
닙 선수가 잘하긴 하지만 지금 밸런스가 저그가 조금만 잘하면은 지기 힘들다고 생각을 해서 토스를 만난 점에 되게 운이 좋다고 생각하고 있었어요.
So he says, of course, Neeb is a very, very good player, but personally, I think right now with the way things are balanced, as long as the Zerg player, plays even a little bit well, I think it's really hard for a Protoss player to win. So as soon as I found out that I was facing a Protoss player, I was very, very happy about that. And in this series against Neeb, you showed really outstanding Nidus Swarm host play. Can you talk to us about why you think it's as effective as it is? 이제 그 땅굴 군수 플레이를 되게 뛰어난 경기력을 보여줬었는데 특별하게 좋아하는 이유가 있나요?
일단은 굳이 후반을 가서 힘들게 게임을 하지 않고 쉽게 이길 수 있는 방법 중 하나고 일단은 제가 그 상대 오버로드로 상대 체제를 확인하고 최적화해서 드론만 잘 붙인다면은 절대로 제가 질 수가 없는 상황을 만들 수 있을 거라고 생각을 해서 항상 상황이 괜찮을 때만 사용을 하고 있는데 그때만 쓰면은 질 수가 없는 것 같아요.
So he says, when it comes to Nidus Swarm host play, I am personally of the opinion that I like it because it's one of the ways that I can avoid kind of heading towards that late game stage and sort of suffering through that, and so I can sort of end the game faster. And also, I tend to only like using it when I scout the opponent and feel like it's a good situation to use it. As long as I can keep my economy going and scout the other opponent and feel like it will work, then that's when I choose to use it. And in today's series, I feel like that's why it worked as well as it did. And of course, if you want to make it to the round of 8, of course, you need to face Trap in that winner's match. Trap, you played very recently in the GSL finals where you won very convincingly 4-0. Because of that, are you very confident facing him?
이제 조성호 선수를 만날 건데 조성호 선수가 이제 한 달 전에 GSL 결승전에서 너무 압도적이게 4대 0으로 이겨서 자신감이 지금 넘치나요?
일단 토스전은 누굴 만나도 항상 자신 있지만 성호가 닙 선수보다 좀 더 잘한다고 생각을 해서 지금처럼 하면 못 이길 것 같고 좀 더 집중해서 성호의 스타일을 맞춤을 잘 해야 될 것 같아요.
So he says, it's still another ZvP, so no matter who the Protoss, I'm feeling very confident. But that being said, I do think that Trap is a much stronger player than Neeb, so I don't think that I can maintain the level of play that I've showcased in this series against Neeb. I think I'll have to definitely play a lot stronger, and I think I'll have to adjust my play according to Trap's specific style if I want to take him down. But for now, congratulations once again. That series he just mentioned is the one that will be coming up after this break. It will be Rogue taking on Trap.
2019 WCS Global Finals, Round 16.